When you and I see a homeless person, something inside of you might say something like, I need to help this person. And then you think of all the ways you can help them, maybe by clothing them or giving them food or teaching them something so they can sustain themselves. But I think that sometimes what we really end up saying is, I need to help this person live like me. We don't intend to, but we automatically think if that this person lives like us, then they would be happy, that they would be fulfilled. Unintentionally, we put our own ideals into their lives. I think that if we aren't careful, we can do this as friends, as students, as co-workers, or even as missionaries. We put our own ideals onto other people in the hopes of transforming their lives into something as similar as our own. We judge people by comparing their lives to ours. In The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, we learn that one person's ideal life may not be the same as another's, and that sometimes the only thing we can do is accept the difference. This is chapter 1 in The Glass Castle. I was sitting in a taxi, wondering if I'd overdressed for the evening, when I looked out the window and saw my mom rummaging through a dumpster. It was just after dark. A blustery March wind whipped the steam out of the manholes, and people walked hurriedly along the sidewalks with their collars turned up. I was stuck in traffic 2 blocks away from the party I was attending. Mom stood 15 feet away. She had tied rags around her shoulders to keep out the spring chill and was picking through the trash while her dog, a black and white terrier, was playing at her feet. Mom's gestures were all familiar, the way she tilted her head or thrust out her bottom lip as she studied items of potential value that she'd hoisted out of the dumpster. The way her eyes widened with childish glee as she spotted something that she liked. Her long hair was streaked with gray, tangled and matted. Her eyes were sunk deep in her sockets. But still, she reminded me of the mom I always knew when I was a kid, swine jumping off of cliffs, painting in the desert, or reading Shakespeare aloud. Her cheekbones were still high and strong, but the skin was parched and ruddy from all those winters and summers exposed to the elements. To the people walking by, she looked like any of the thousands of homeless people living in New York City. It had been months since I laid eyes on Mom, and when she looked up, I was overcome with panic that she'd see me and call out my name, and that someone on the way to the same party would spot us together, and Mom would introduce herself, and then my secret would be out. I slid down the seat and asked the driver to take me back to my home to Park Avenue. The taxi pulled up to my building. The doorman took me to the door, and the elevator man took me up to my floor. My husband was working late, as he did most nights, and the apartment was silent, except for the heels on the polished wood floor. I was still rattled from seeing Mom, the unexpectedness of coming across her, the sight of her rooting happily through a dumpster. I put on DeBorde, hoping the music would calm me down. I looked around the room. There were the turn-of-the-century bronze and silver vases and the old books with the worn leather spines that I'd picked up at flea markets. There were the Georgia maps I'd had framed, the Persian rugs, and the overstuffed leather armchair I liked to sink into at the end of the day. I tried to make a home for myself here. Tried to turn the apartment into the sort of place where the person I wanted to be would live. But I never enjoyed the room without worrying about Mom or Dad, huddled on a sidewalk grate somewhere. I fretted about them, but I was embarrassed about them too, and ashamed of myself for wearing pearls and living in Park Avenue, while my parents were busy keeping warm or finding something to eat. What could I do? I tried to help us countless times, but Dad would insist that they didn't need anything, and Mom would say something silly like a perfume atomizer or a gym membership. They said they were happy the way they were living. After ducking down in the taxi so Mom wouldn't see me, I hated myself. I hated my clothes, my antiques, my apartment. I had to do something. So I called Mom's friend and left a message. This was our way of keeping in touch. It took Mom a few days to get back to me, but when she did, when I heard from her, she sounded, as always, cheerful and casual, as though we'd had lunch the day before. I told her I wanted to see her and suggest she drop by the apartment, but she wanted to go to a restaurant. She loved eating out, so we agreed to meet for lunch at her favorite Chinese restaurant. Mom was sitting at a booth when I arrived, studying the menu. She made an effort to fix herself up. She wore a bulky gray sweater with only a few light stains on it, and men's leather black boots. She'd washed her face, but her neck and temples were still dark with grime. She waved enthusiastically at me, and when she saw me, "It's my baby girl," she cried out. I kissed her cheek. Mom had dumped all the plastic packets of soy sauce and duck sauce and hot and spicy mustard from the table into her purse. Now she emptied a wooden bowl of dried noodles into it as well. A little snack for later on, she explained. We ordered. Mom chose the seafood delight. "You know how I love my seafood," she said. She started talking about Picasso. She'd seen a retrospective of his work and decided he was hugely overrated. All the Cubist stuff was gimmicky, and as far as she was concerned, he hadn't really done anything worthwhile after his Rose period. "I'm worried about you," I said. "Tell me what I can do to help." Her smile faded. "What makes you think I need your help?" "I'm not rich," I said, "but I have some money. Tell me what it is you need." She thought for a moment. "I could use an electrolysis treatment." "Be serious." "I am serious. If a woman looks good, she feels good." "Come on, Mom." I felt my shoulders tightening up the way they invariably did during these conversations. "I'm talking about something that could change your life, make it better." "You want to help me change my life?" Mom asked. "I'm fine. You're the one who needs help. Your values are all confused." "Mom, I saw you picking through the trash the other day in the East Village." "Well, in this country, people are way too wasteful. It's my way of recycling." She took a bite of her seafood delight. "Why didn't you say hello?" "I was too ashamed, Mom. I hid." Mom pointed her chopsticks at me. "You see," she said, "this right here is what I'm talking about. Your father and I, we are who we are. Accept it." And what am I supposed to tell people about my parents? The truth. That's simple enough.